I think we got it. Yep. Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, welcome. This is very excited for you to be here, as always. I know I say that with a straight face, but I genuinely am excited. You just can't tell. What a shock. If you hear any noises in the background, my parents are awake. Loud Turkish family. So you'll hear laughing and screaming and all that, so it's just a part of the culture. Okay? Just a warning. I think it's been a while since I've done a deep talks video. Maybe like a month or 2 months. I thought that today's video could be about journaling. So the first quote that comes to my mind when I think of journaling is by Natalie Goldberg. And it goes, "What is important is you are having a relationship with your mind." Journaling is a form of meditation. It's therapy. And you do, at the end of it, have a relationship with your mind. There's a book by Eric Barker, and it's called Barking Up the Wrong Tree. And they have study subjects who are pretty much writing down what they're going through. And as they're writing, their anxiety starts to reduce, which means they're able to recover from their injury much more faster. I find that fascinating, that writing on a piece of paper is able to physically and mentally heal you. As you guys know, I'm a writer. I've been writing ever since I was a little girl. I keep a lot of things. I have a hard time throwing things out. So journaling was just natural for me. It just came organically. And I actually have a bag full of just notes from my loved ones, you know, my friends, cards, all that, notes I wrote to myself. And it's fun for me because I know I can reach into that bag and pull something out and it can spark a memory. And that to me is not triggering at all, because I know at one point that was my life and that made me happy, or that gave me a life lesson. So to have that at my disposal is just, it's kind of powerful if you think about it. And actually in middle school, I was friends with this one girl. That was before she became, you know, my bully. And I had her come over one time and I had a stuffed unicorn on my bed. When we weren't friends anymore, she told the entire school that I had that stuffed unicorn on my bed. And then there was also like rumors where, you know, some people were like, oh, she probably has a diary too. I can tell you that that incident, even though it may seem very, very small, was the reason why I never journaled. I never had a diary. And it stuck with me for a very, very, very long time. As you can tell, like, I just started writing in my journal 2-3 years ago. So, and I'm a full-grown adult now. And just understanding the emotions that I was going through. And I think that's where astrology came in. But just writing, man, that shit took it to another level. It gave me a self-discovery about myself that surpassed anything that I could have imagined. In a way, it was helpful for me to manage my stress because I couldn't open up to anybody. The relationships that I was in, the friendships that I was in, my family, because I always had that incident in my head, like, she's weak, you know, like if I open up my emotions to people, I'm weak. And I'm so glad I got out of that, because now I'm older, and when I see somebody who's not able to process their emotions effectively and they actually use it against me, I'm like, actually, I'm not the weak one, you're the weak one, because you can't even understand what's going on with you, so you're projecting your problems onto me and making me feel bad. And that's a whole nother story, but it made my journey so much easier when I took time for myself. Behind me is all my journals. I started and I never stopped, and this has been one consistent thing in my life that I love doing. I take pride in it. I'm the type of person where For me to commit to something, it's like a huge deal. Okay, here they are. Oh, they're so heavy. It's like carrying around a baby. I'm just gonna pull out the journal that I'm currently writing with. This is the journal that I'm writing with right now. It's pretty big. I love the detailing on it. I got this from Rite Aid. And I usually just go to drugstores to pick my journals up because it's cheap. Remember, journaling is cheap therapy. There's a lot of pages, like a substantial amount. And usually what I do before I start a journal, I usually go by what I feel, like energetically wise. Of course, I study astrology, so I know what's coming up. And we are having a whole shit ton of retrogrades in the next few weeks. And we have eclipses coming up, so I know for sure that this is gonna be a heavy couple of months. And I figured like I would start off with big books to get everything out. I'll show you guys my first journal. You see, you don't have to start off perfect. I definitely didn't. This is my first journal. You can see I have staples trying to hold it together.
I'm getting better.
Computer pad. I can take this everywhere. You can see it's like squishy on one side of the journal here. And oh, would you look at that? Rite Aid just gave me a coupon. You read my mind. Let's say I'm starting off with writing on this page. I would want this page to be held down. So I would use this band to hold it together. Another good tip is to keep a lot of pens and pencils around. I write with pens because that just works for me. And the pen that I use the most is Pilot G2. I don't just have journals about writing my feelings and stuff. I have books. Right now my books are underneath the camera to hold it up, but those are for songs, poems, music, and I just write everything down. I don't care if it rips because that to me is very authentic. I have different types of journals. They're different colors, different sizes, different shapes. Love when the journals have bands to grip them and not allow the pages to open up. So these are pretty cool. I got these from Rite Aid as well. I definitely have backup journals which are sitting on my shelf over there. And I have backup journals because I know I'm a fast writer. Again, I just go with the vibe. I know when I will finish a journal. You cannot predict your mind. So some days I will write literally 20 pages a day. And then some days I will only write one. When I first started this journal, I was in the most darkest period of my life. This is something that I will never forget because I couldn't go to anybody. I couldn't really understand what was going on with me, and I felt so trapped, and I prayed so much, circling and circling in my head, and no matter what I said, it just didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? We do this thing where someone will ask us, you know, how are you? And you're like, I'm fine. That's not the truth. And you just keep confusing yourself even more because you're not able to express yourself in the way that you should. This book has not judged me. This book has not given me a side eye. This book has not laughed at me. It gave me that comfort, and I knew that I could keep going back to it if I needed to. The cool thing about journaling is I know that this batch will keep growing and keep growing. One day when I have children, I could show them my life story. As I'm writing, I cried and I laughed, and things that we don't want to think about, that we do not want to face, have to be faced. And that's why people say face your fears at your own pace, at your own time, for sure, but at some point you have to face it. And journaling does that. It's like a mirror. It's like you're reading your own story to yourself, and it gives you a reason to think about your life, to analyze your being, and to keep evolving. So if you don't want that for yourself, it's only gonna hurt you in the end. And I'm by no means saying that if you don't write, you won't evolve. But I'm just saying that journaling, it's like you're capturing your experiences, you're placing it into a book, and it's getting out of your system, and you have proof of that moment. So no doubt there will be people who don't think that journaling will help them, and here are probably some things that they'll say is, it is, you know, on a privacy issue. I don't want all my secrets or all my thoughts on a piece of paper for somebody to find. I get that, I understand that. I have my journal right by my bedside, but I make sure that the people who live with me, that they do not disrespect me by reading my journal unless I give them permission to read it. And it's actually kind of funny because my brothers will try and like get to it and like try and read it, but I'm like, no, the only time you'll read it is if I'm dead. Another thing is, some people might have issues writing because of their hands. It might start cramping up, you know, arthritis or whatever it may be. I understand that too. Sometimes I write so much that my hand will cramp up. I have to shake it off, take a break. But I'm sure that there are other ways to go about it. There are apps for journaling. You could write in your notes. I need something physical in front of me. I need a pen to physically touch. I need a book to physically grab. And for me, the writing process is an exercise in itself. It gives me like a break from a phone screen because we are attached to our phones. Whether we like to hear that or not, it is becoming a part of our flesh. If you think about it, it's always with us. It gives me a break from my phone because a lot of my stress and everyday problems is because of a phone. And I think a lot of people can agree with me on that. So putting that aside and just focusing on taking time to journal is essential to my health, pretty much. Because this is an ancient tradition, they didn't have phones back then. They had, you know, caves to carve into, or, you know, wood to write into, and they had feathers with ink on it, and now they have plastic with ink inside of it. As you're writing, you are branching every feeling into tinier aspects, and you're connecting the dots to where it stemmed from and what caused it and what's prolonging it. For sure, like, it's not just negative things. There's so many positive things too. And that's what's so great about it, is when you find the bad, you also find the good. And this balance allows you to keep thinking. As you write, it starts making sense. You know, you're just like, oh wait, that's actually not what happened. This is what happened. This is how I actually felt about it. And there is no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about connecting the pieces. It's literally like a puzzle piece. It doesn't mean that I need to be writing like I'm a scholar. Go on Google, type in journal prompts, and it'll give you startup points on like what to write about. It'll ask you questions, like deep topics. So it can be disjointed. You could write however you want. You don't even have to spell words right, is what I'm trying to say. It could be just how you feel in the moment. You want to write fast and you can't even read it, go ahead. Write fast. So if this inspired you to write, or if you agree with it and you do write, let me know in the comments below, because your words, your impact, your intentions will always linger on. And I'm big on that. I'm big on that. I knew that I had to be honest with myself. Like, whatever I was writing about, no one else was seeing that except my own two eyes. Whatever you put on your page is on your page. And that's you putting it out into the universe, essentially. And that's why books and words have so much impact on the world, that we all are so intrigued by one another's journeys. Like, we all want to know what's going on beneath the surface. I'm actually gonna go take a shower, relax, and write on my journal. I hope you guys have a good day, night, wherever you are. I will see you guys very, very soon. And this alien is out. I will see you guys later.